This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Bang. 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 One by one, the crown princes exploded and died under the dragon power. Arg. You're so vicious. The screams continued to ring out. These crown princes' deaths were so realistic, but they could no longer shake Yunxiao in the slightest. At that moment, his heart was as hard as iron, and all his emotions had converged into a killing intent, one that wanted to pierce Yunxiao's bones and scatter his ashes. Brother 9, my head. The headless crown prince pounced on him. Ninth brother, you broke my heart last time. My heart hurts so much. Another crown prince, who was clutching his chest, rushed over. You're dead. Yunxiao's eyes turned cold. Since you don't have a head, just go and die. What are you still shouting about? His 5 fingers turned into claws and directly clawed at the headless crown prince, wanting to tear him apart. Chi. The headless crown prince was instantly cut in half. And you, of course you're going to die if your heart is crushed. Ruo Xiang's expression did not change at all, and there was no emotion in his eyes. He also threw a punch at the crown prince who had broken his heart, and the other party also threw a punch back. What? Ruo Xiang's cold expression suddenly changed, as if he had noticed something strange. On the fist of the crown prince who had broken his heart, a white ice flame condensed, flickering and jumping. Although the ice flame was small, it exuded an extremely terrifying aura, causing his heart to tremble. He said in horror, "This is a kasaya." Bang. However, it was too late. The ice flame exploded on his dragon fist. Ah! Yunxiao cried out in pain, and his entire arm instantly lost all feeling. At this moment, a dangerous aura suddenly rose behind him. The 2 halves of the crown prince's body that he had torn in half turned into countless tiny black particles, and they pierced through the air densely, surrounding him. Each particle carried an extremely terrifying power of wind and fire, and they struck his body like raindrops. Bang. 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 The dragon scales all over his body were struck with holes, and the light gradually faded. Some of the scales even landed on the surface of the body that was not covered by dragon scales, causing blood to burst out. The heartbroken crown prince roared and punched out again. Although he did not manage to produce the ice flame this time, the power of his punch was still indestructible. Ruo Xiang went berserk, knowing that he had fallen into Yunxiao's trap. The real killing move was hidden among these illusionary characters. At this moment, the crown princes who had been scattered by him gathered again, and one by one, they pounced on him. Damn it, damn it. All of you, go to hell. With a loud roar, he struck out his left arm, which still had some feeling, and poured all his strength into it, trying to break all the illusions. Ah! This. Ruo Xiang was stunned, his eyes almost popped out, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. His left arm turned into a branch after he threw the punch. A white lotus bloomed at the front end of the branch as he threw the punch. What was even more terrifying was that he suddenly realized that he had turned into a cup. Ah! 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 Yunxiao was about to go crazy. The powerful attacks of the calabash little King Kong and the crocodile all landed on him, and the cup was immediately cracked. He had to endure endless attacks, yet he couldn't move at all. The biting of more than 20 crown princes mixed with the real attacks of little King Kong and the others, all of which hit the cup, making countless bang-bang sounds. Boom. All of a sudden, an abnormally powerful force exploded from the cup, blasting away all the attacks. An ancient aura spread out, and all the illusions of the crown prince disappeared. The calabash King Kong and the giant crocodile were also bounced back dozens of meters. The 2 of them revealed their true forms and rushed forward again, but they were blocked by that force and could not move an inch forward. Yunxiao's eyes flickered with horror as he saw Yunxiao transform back from the cup. A powerful dragon essence spread out as he transformed into the form of a true dragon and rushed over. Yunxiao's face was stern as he said, burning dragon essence is the root of a true dragon. After this battle, you will never be able to return to your current strength. Xiang, who had turned into a true dragon, had a cruel and cold look in his eyes. He said coldly, "The only obstacle in my path of martial arts is you, my inner demon. As long as I kill you, no matter how difficult the cultivation is, I can return to the peak and step towards the end of the martial Tao." The descent of the true dragon caused the entire lunar dimension to collapse, and the eye of the lunar pupil that was hidden in the darkness was also impacted, shedding tears of blood. This is the last attack after burning my dragon essence. It's either you die or I die. I want to see who the ruler of life is. Xiang roared ferociously. The sound of a dragon's roar reverberated through the ages. Once again, everyone on the Xiankong Island knelt down in fear. Guan Yuan revealed a look of horror. Under that dragon's roar, what was transmitted through the tremors was actually the might of the 10 Directions divine realm. Roar. Ruo Xiang turned into the shadow of a dragon and opened up his 5 claws to attack in all directions. He wanted to blow up heaven and earth and overturn the universe. I'm the most powerful person in this world. All those who block my way must die. Kill. 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 He had gone completely crazy. Dragon fists broke through the sky and earth, and the entire universe began to collapse. What? All of a sudden, the true dragon frowned. After breaking through the lunar dimension, what he saw was not Xiankong Island, but a white mist. This is a Kasaya. His dragon body was in the middle of the white mist. Spiritual chi filled the air, and immortal music lingered in the air. Under the fog, one could vaguely see the flowing rivers and towering mountains, as well as all kinds of insects, fish, birds, and beasts. The spiritual mist gradually dispersed, and a strange aura spread in the surroundings, beginning to form a world. At this moment, a majestic monument descended with a loud bang. It emitted a vast and mighty force, as if it was the center of the world and the extreme of the universe. The monument emitted streams of light that directly suppressed him and crushed him into powder. The power of 10 worlds. Xiang was greatly shocked. His true dragon body soared up, and he roared as he attacked the divine realm tablet, constantly shattering the derived world. At this moment, a figure slowly descended from the tablet and stood quietly on top of it. He could vaguely see Yunxiao, who was performing incantation gestures with one hand and shooting out golden runes. Ruo Xiang was also going all out and didn't ask for any more fantasies. He burned all of his dragon origin power and shouted, "Even if I have to die, I'll take you down with me." The power of a true dragon burst out from Xiang's body and soared into the sky, shattering the divine realm tablet's world phenomenon inch by inch. The entire 4 poles of the universe began to collapse. Yunxiao frowned, and the moon-like pupils in his eyes bulged. Half of his head was covered in blue veins, making him look detestable. The shadow of a blood-red moon appeared behind him as if it was rising from the sea. A melodious, poetic voice drifted over. It was faintly discernible, but it was shocking as it resounded through the entire land. I peeked at the birds outside the bamboo, the water outside the tree, and the clouds outside the peak. Did I do it intentionally or unintentionally? Birds come to spy on people, the moon peeks at wine, and the snow peeks at books, but they see that he is heartless. As the poem finished, the entire world changed. All living things retreated, the world disappeared, and everything turned into nothingness. The blood-red eyes in the sky slowly opened and stared at the sky quietly. Everything it saw was wiped away. Xiang's eyes widened. He gradually felt his body disappearing from this world. His true dragon's power was rapidly flowing away. No matter how he struggled, he could not escape the power of that one glance. Bang. 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 Blood mist burst out from his body, and his true dragon body began to slowly disappear from this world. Xiang smiled sadly and said, I still lost in the end." His laughter was filled with unwillingness, helplessness, and ruthlessness. Memories of his past surfaced in his mind. Other than cultivation, he had only been cultivating and cultivating. The only memory that brought him some warmth stopped at the time when he was 5 years old. His mother's arms made him smile so warmly. The laughter continued and echoed in the sky, but it was getting smaller and smaller. It wasn't that he couldn't laugh anymore, but under the gaze of those eyes, even his voice had inevitably disappeared. Li Yunxiao, you are the one who is destined to be the king of this world. I'll die in your hands today. From now on, you're not allowed to lose to anyone, no one. Step on my bones and ascend to the peak of martial Tao. There was a helpless wild laugh, helpless hope, and helpless desire. The true dragon's body gradually disappeared in the sky, leaving no shadow behind. The eye in the sky slowly closed, and Yunxiao's figure vaguely appeared in the endless sea fog. I will. This was the final response to the oceanic species expert. Everyone on Xiankong Island was in a state of shock. Ever since Yunxiao had used the eye technique, Sun Moon, they had been almost blind, and had no idea what was going on. Only those high-level martial sovereigns could make a guess based on their aura. When the true dragon appeared and the people submitted, they could no longer feel anything. Even Shui Xian's face was pale. Her eyes flashed with golden light, and the inherited eye of truth power was circulated to the extreme, as if she could vaguely see something. Bang! Following that, a loud sound rang out in the sky. It was as if a world had been blasted apart, as if the heavens and earth had been split open. Yunxiao's figure emerged from the void, but his face was pale, and his blood vessels were clearly visible. His eyes were tightly closed, and 2 streams of blood were flowing down. He used up all his soul power to perform the 10 directions divine skill. Not only was his soul greatly damaged, but even the moon eye was also severely injured, and it completely closed. Along with him, dragon artifacts also appeared from the void. Scales, horns, claws, spine, and whiskers. There was no dragon chi on them, and they were floating in the air. Although Yunxiao had erased Ruinxiang's dragon form, the remains of the real ancient true dragon could not be erased by his eye sorcery. However, the dragon chi in the 5 dragon-type secret treasures had been completely exhausted, and it would probably take a long time for them to recover. Yunxiao raised his hand and grabbed at the 5 dragon artifacts. Everyone on the Xiankong Island was still in a daze. Although they did not know what had happened, the 5 dragon secret treasures had revealed themselves, and they could tell the outcome of the battle. Only the 2 of them were the first to react. They suddenly turned into 2 rays of light and shot into the sky. One of them was Guang Yi, who was determined to get the 5 dragon secret treasures, and the other was Yunxiao, who was also determined to get them. Even though it was still very difficult for him to accept the fact that Run Xiang was dead, he had to believe everything that was happening in front of him. The other man was Bai Ming Kongtian, and he had to kill Yunxiao. Although he did not know the relationship between Yunxiao and Gu Feiyang, he knew that Yunxiao must die. Guang Yi's face darkened. When he saw Bai Ming Kongtian rushing over, he thought he was going to protect Yunxiao. With a cold snort, he put 2 fingers together and pointed in the air, shouting, "Get lost." Bai Ming Kongtian's expression changed. He turned into an afterimage in the air and shouted, "It's a misunderstanding." Humph. After Run Xiang's death, Guang Yi had felt a sense of unease. He didn't know where this feeling came from. However, as a 9-stars martial emperor, he would not make empty claims. Something must have happened. Among all the people present, the only one who could pose a threat to him at this moment was Bai Ming Kongtian. Therefore, when he saw Bai Ming Kongtian make a move, he was even more certain of his decision. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes as he said coldly, "If it's a misunderstanding, then get lost." As he spat out the word "Askram," cold stars began to fall from his hands, and every move he made was aimed at taking Bai Ming Kongtian's life. Bai Ming Kongtian flew into a rage. He was a peak 8-stars martial emperor expert, but he was scolded like a child by the other party. He was instantly enraged and shouted, "Fuck off. Don't think I'm afraid of you." With a flip of his hand, the move "In my life is boundless" rose and slammed down from the sky. A nebula suddenly appeared in the sky, and strange phenomena appeared. Guang Yuan's expression changed drastically. That move, "My life has a limit," produced a strange phenomenon, and directly pressed down on him. Although he was a 9-star expert, his injuries had not yet healed, so he did not dare to be negligent. The spring river's tide connects with the sea's peace. Guang Yuan's hands formed a seal, and streams of water yuan rippled out from his body, drawing upon the power of the surrounding sea. Like the rising and falling of the tide, they blasted towards the spinning nebula. Boom! Under the bombardment of the two forces, the sky was filled with ocean water, which was mesmerizing. Baiming Kongtian retreated at the sound. Both of them launched a probing attack with 80% of their strength. Baiming Kongtian's qi and blood were stirred up, and he was overwhelmed with shock. Guang Yuan gave a heavy humph, and said, "If you don't want to die, get lost." Baiming Kongtian's face was gloomy. Although he felt that the gap between the two wasn't that big, he was still at a disadvantage and could only stare at Guang Yi with an ashen face. In his opinion, Guang Yi had no reason to save Yunxiao, and most likely wanted to kill him. It would be better to let Yunxiao die in this man's hands to save him some trouble. At this moment, Yunxiao had already obtained 5 dragon secret treasures, but they were sent flying by the aftershock of their palms. He was extremely weak now, and in order to kill Ruo Xiang, he had used all his trump cards at all costs. Seeing Guang Yuan approaching step by step, the calabash little King Kong and the big crocodile guarded him on both sides. The rest of the people were afraid of Guang Yuan's might, and wanted to save him, but were helpless. "First Island Master, you can't kill him," Shui Xian exclaimed. Guang Yuan smiled indifferently. "Your Highness, this man killed the Crown Prince of the North Sea. He has committed a heinous crime. He must die." Shui Xian was so anxious that she did not know how to explain herself. In a flash, she appeared in front of Yunxiao, stopped Guang Yuan, and said, "I have a use for this person, so I can't kill him." Guang Yuan's expression turned cold, and he revealed a hint of a sneer, saying, "Li Yunxiao, Ruinxiang has already gone to that extent, but he still can't kill you. Now, Her Highness is protecting you. It seems that you really have the will of heaven. Your Highness, how about this?" He smiled gently. "He killed the Crown Prince of North Sea, so I can't let him go rashly. I'll let this matter go if he hands over the 5 dragons' secret treasures that Run Xiang left behind and comes with me to the Palace of North Sea to accept his punishment." Shui Xian looked hesitant. She had also sensed Guang Yuan's strength, and if he did not agree, it was very likely that he would turn hostile and kill Yunxiao. Yunxiao stuffed a large number of heavenly materials and earthly treasures into his mouth and laughed as he ate. "If I'm really going back to the Palace of North Sea to be punished, I'll naturally hand the secret treasure of the true dragon to the head of North Sea personally." "What's the reason for you to take it?" "Because you're too cunning," Guang Yuan sneered. "I'm afraid that something might change midway. If you want to live, this is your only choice." The two of them sneered at each other, knowing that this was just an excuse for Shui Xian. Baiming Kongtian's face darkened. Although he also believed that Guang Yuan would not let Yunxiao go, he could not take the risk. Yunxiao had to be killed. "First Island Lord, this girl is a member of your sea clan. If it's not convenient for you to help, I'll kill Li Yunxiao, and you can take the dragon's secret treasure." In order to kill Yunxiao, he no longer cared about the humiliation he had suffered just now. Baiming Lifeng found it a little strange. He could not understand why Elder Kong Tian, who had been protecting Yunxiao, suddenly had a murderous intent. Guang Yuan made a hand gesture and said with a smile, his eyes narrowed, "Please." Baiming Kongtian snorted as he slowly walked toward Yunxiao, the killing intent in his eyes growing stronger. Yunxiao was not afraid in the face of danger. "Elder Kongtian," he said with a smile, "don't you want the latter half of the cultivation technique?" "Li Yunxiao," Baiming Kongtian said coldly, "stop pretending in front of me. You should know why I want to kill you. What is your relationship with that person? As long as you tell me whether that person is dead or not, and where he is now, I can spare your life." Everyone was at a loss, not understanding what he meant. Guang Yuan's eyes were squinted the entire time, and he had a smile on his face. When Baiming Kongtian walked past him, a sharp light burst out from his eyes, and he suddenly launched an attack, both palms fiercely pushing forward. "You coward!" Baiming Kongtian was greatly shocked. By the time he reacted, he had already been enveloped by the palm force. In a hurry, he hurriedly circulated his chi to block it. Bang! There were no fancy moves, only a pure competition of origin power. The two forces suddenly collided. A cold light flashed in Guangyuan's eyes, and he continued to push with great force, pressing down on Bai Mingkongtian's body. His sudden move shocked everyone, and they didn't know what was going on. The people from Baiming Dark Palace were also shocked. They wanted to go forward and save her, but it was useless. First Island Lord, what's the meaning of this? Bai Mingkongtian was furious. Don't you want to kill Li Yunxiao? He could feel the power that was endlessly being pushed over from Guangyuan's hands, and it was directly overpowering all other techniques, trying to use the difference in their cultivation levels to crush him. Moreover, this move was extremely effective. He had lost the initiative under that palm power and had no way to escape. He could only fight with his origin power. I've had a bad feeling since just now, Guangyuan grinned hideously, even my eyelids were twitching. On this island, who else but you can make me feel fear and even hurt me? Of course, Yunxiao has to kill you, but he has to get rid of you first. Bai Mingkongtian was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He had made a compromise just to kill Yunxiao, but he had fallen into the other's trap. You're a 9-stars martial emperor, but you're plotting against me. Is this really the doing of a hero? Guangyuan laughed loudly and said, Hero? The winner is a hero, and the loser is trash. His essence force surged out from his palm, and he wanted to kill Bai Mingkongtian at all costs. Although this kind of battle consumed a lot of his origin power and even caused his internal injuries, as long as he defeated Bai Mingkongtian, swallowed him, and digested him, he would be able to make up for it. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out, the first island master is right. The winner is a hero, and the loser is trash. Guangyuan's expression changed drastically, and his pupils suddenly widened, as if in disbelief. A great sense of death spread in his heart, and cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. Everyone was shocked. The expressions of Cold Feather and Nine Heavens in the distance changed even more, as if suspecting that they heard wrongly. After the voice rang out, a faint figure appeared, and an extremely sharp light slashed down from the sky. Pincer attack. The figure shouted. Although Bai Mingkongtian didn't know what was happening, he knew that his chance had come. His eyes immediately widened, and he suddenly clenched his hands and 5 fingers, activating all the strength in his body and roaring, swift as a startled swan. A burst of cold yin chi burst out from his palms and condensed into form. A strange phenomenon appeared behind him, and the attack from beyond the heavens reappeared, suddenly pressing down on Guangyuan. Under the fierce slash in the sky, the sword light also flashed, and the rules of sword appeared around it, ready to cut the sky and split the earth. Yunxiao's pupils constricted as he stared at the sword chi, his eyes filled with doubt. No one had expected this change, and even Guangyuan was greatly shocked. He finally understood why he had been so uneasy all this time. It turned out that it wasn't because of Bai Mingkongtian. In the face of danger, the potential in his body instantly burst out. He put 2 fingers together to form a seal in front of him and shouted, Mixed Element Chi. Then, he formed a seal with his hands and the seal opened up in front of him, turning into a circular barrier. Boom. Boom. The 2 attacks suddenly hit the barrier, causing the wind and clouds in the surroundings to surge. The ground was turned into pieces of gravel that were thrown into the sky from all directions. With the 3 experts as the center, the area within a radius of several hundred meters was completely destroyed. Everyone was instantly pushed back, and Yunxiao was carried by the golden armored guards summoned by Water Fairy, who had fled hundreds of meters away. With a wry smile, Yunxiao pointed at the Calabash King Kong and the crocodile beside him and said, I also have 2 guards, although they are a little ugly. Shui Xian blushed and hurriedly took back her golden armored guard, which almost made Yunxiao fall off, and the gored little King Kong caught him. She looked at the crocodile suspiciously and said, This crocodile swan and I. The crocodile raised its head and glanced at her before going back to sleep. Although Yunxiao had given him a slave seal, his personality had not changed. Yunxiao smiled. It's refined from Mr. Mo Shah's Montenegro. It's very practical. Remember to thank him for me the next time you see him.